Hey guys, so today we have a lot of options of how we're going to create our cylinders. So we're making cakes, right? And we're going to take a piece out of that cake. Our cake can be a layer cake, or cake can be a single cake, single sheet. You can use chalk, you can use oil pastel, you can use pencil. Okay, the first one I'm going to do is just draw a basic cylinder, right? So when I'm drawing my basic cylinder, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my pencil, and I'm using a Sharpie again, and I'm going to just draw a big kind of squashed oval. Somebody sat on it a little bit, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and find the furthest points out on either side, and I'm going to draw a vertical line down. Same thing out here. I found that far point, and I draw a vertical line down. They should be about similar length. So right now we are drawing a basic cylinder, right? So then I go ahead and I'm going to draw my curved line connecting my two pieces. So now we have a cylinder, right? Then I'm going to add on a plate because you know what? The cake should not just sit on the counter. And you're just drawing a plate right around the base. It kind of looks like a top hat now. And you can add frosting on the top. This is our basic cake. Now we need to take a piece out of it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a dot in the center of my cake because that's where I'm going to be cutting my piece out of. Okay. I'm going to draw two parallel vertical lines right here. These two are parallel. They should be parallel to these as well. Okay. I'm now going to connect to my dot. Connect. So I've cut it. And now I need to make a line going in here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to think about right down the middle right here. Stop it right about there because that looks about right. I'm going to go ahead and draw one line out, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw a diagonal there. And anything I draw on one side, I'm going to go ahead and draw on the other side. Draw one more up here and one more here. And if I wanted to, I could make that those lines thicker to look like they're filling. So I'm going to go ahead and add a second line right above it because this is where the layer, that's where that chocolate filling is going to be right in there. Same thing down here. Now, in a perfect world, I have my eraser and I erase out that line. Do I have my eraser because it's Sharpie? Nope. But that is the beginning of my cake. Now, I might want to add an extra detail line around the edge of my plate to make it look fancier. So far, guys, this is just a pencil drawing, right? You can always shade if you don't have colors to color with. If you have chalk today, it might be a fun day to use chalk. If you have oil pastels, today might be a fun day to use oil pastels. So I might go ahead and add some more detail now. So I have my basic cake right here, and then I'm going to start using some color. One way to add color, it's not super neat, but I can color with my piece of chalk right on here to get a large area of color. Remember, chalk likes to smudge everywhere, so if you're in a space where you shouldn't get dirty, chalk might not be your best option today. You could go outside and use it. Okay. I can then smudge it with my finger to get it smoother or closer to the edges. To get a darker color, I can also experiment with painting over it with water. Okay, so I have the outside of my cake. I think the top of my cake is also going to be that blue, so I'm going to go ahead, try not to color in those little frosting areas on the top of my cake. I'm still going to smudge this with my finger. And you're going to want to make sure the inside of your cake is a different color. Why do I want a different color? Well, because it's the inside. It'll pop out more if you do. So if you use a cool color like I did on the outside, it could be fun to try out a hot color or a warm color on the inside, right? So I'm going to go ahead and color the inside of my cake this warm color. Take my finger. I have a blue finger, so I'm going to use a different color finger. Make sure your plate is a different color than the inside of your cake too. So you have at least 3 or 4 colors on this piece of cake. I wonder what color this layer of frosting should be in the middle of my cake. And guys, this is just if you have, again, I am not expecting that everybody has chalk. So it's okay if you're sitting there being like, I don't have that. You don't need to have it. I'm going to go ahead and make my plate a different color now. Again, all of this has been really big areas of color. There's not much in the way of detail using chalk, especially a piece of chalk as big as the ones that I was just using. Don't forget, the bottom of your plate in there is going to be that same color as the plate out here. Okay, so I have really light colors. Let me show you what happens if I add water. So if I add water, this side I've added water, this side I haven't. If you add water, the chalk tends to stick to your paper a little bit more. It's not going to just smudge and come off. So that color just stays right on there. So I have a light colored cake right now with a piece cut out. Now I'm going to try some oil pastels. Okay, with this oil pastel right here, I've drawn my basic cylinder. I'm going to go ahead and pretend this is another plate. But instead of making another plate, I'm going to add another layer to my cake. It's not going to be a very big layer. I'm following those same steps. Curved line down below. My plate's going to go off the side of the page, and that is okay. Right, so I have this cake. It's going off the side of the page. I still have to cut a piece out, so I'm going to still put that dot right in the middle. I'm going to draw my 2 parallel lines. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and make my triangle up here. I'm going to draw my vertical line down again. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add those frosting lines. Okay, now I'm going to keep adding my detail. The fun part about oil pastels is that you can blend them. So once you get a color that you like, you can add different tints to it to make it have different colored details. So we can add lighter colors, we can add darker colors, you can add swirls to it, you can add stripes to it. I have some sort of pink frosting on the inside of my cake, maybe a red velvet cake. My last step is to add little tiny detail to my plate. I could have a polka dotted cake. Guys, it's up to you. I'm excited to see what your cakes look like. So I used oil pastel and construction paper. And then I also used chalk on a piece of plain white paper. You can also combine and experiment. Today is a great day for experimenting. I'm excited to see what your cake looks like.